Hey guys, Queen Anne Handyman here. Today I wanted to talk about a sewer project that's happening at my house for the past 2 weeks. And this is all the dirt. Well, this is most of the dirt from them digging out front. So let me show you some of the stuff that's going on. So we had a belly in our sewer line. And that means like the sewer goes like straight and then it goes down and then back up again and out. And what happens is stuff tends to settle in that belly and can cause clogs over time. And I knew this when I bought this house many years ago. And a couple of people passed on the house because of the belly. So I wanted to fix that earlier than later. This is where the sewer comes out of my house. It's just really right at Pan. I'm on a hill here, so this is about 9 feet down. And so you can see the old sewer was there. That is where the old clean out was. And it goes right under this huge retaining wall that supports this upper structure here. I had a retaining wall that was sitting here, and that's what all those bricks were out back. So here is my retaining wall, and here's all the bricks, the stone from that I took out myself. So we've got cast iron coming out of my house, going into the Schedule 40 sewer pipe. And that just travels all the way out to the front at the sidewalk area where it meets up with my old sewer line. This pipe that's coming down here in the middle, that's our gas line. That's a really, really old gas line. And as you can see, it was a tough dig. There's about a little bit like 2.5 feet here between my staircase and my walkway here. And this comes up, and as you can see, it goes down to the front there with a big rubber gasket on the end that basically connects the new sewer line to the old sewer line. And so like I said, this is 4-inch pipe, the white pipe that's down there, and then you can see it goes to that green pipe, which is a 6-inch pipe. And you'll see there's a fitting right before it gets to the green pipe is a white pipe, and you can see it goes from the 4-inch to the 6-inch. And if you notice that the 4-inch is basically sitting on the bottom and the 6 inches is up top. So what happened was we didn't have enough slope for the water to go out properly. So that's why we went with a 4-inch pipe to go to that 6-inch pipe. And you can see that 4-inch is now kind of sitting on the bottom of that 6-inch. So instead of the 4-inch pipe sitting in the middle of the 6-inch pipe, it's now sitting on the bottom. And that gives us the additional 2 inches of slope that we need to get this entire thing corrected. Here we have our old sewer pipe, and pretty hardcore. This is about 1 inch thick. This is about 1 inch thick, and these are just the concrete cylinders that fit together. They're about 3 feet long, and they just interconnect together. And there were a bunch of them. I mean, it's pretty hardcore. That's some of the old cast iron pipe. But so these are all interlocked together, and they just run consecutively underground. Obviously, like, those things are supposed to last 100 years. During earthquakes or movements and things like that, they can crack. They can crack at the joint. You know, here's a joint here where they join them together. And we did have some that were leaking. So one of the things we did was have a liner installed. And like, what is a liner? Because we had some holes in the concrete where the joints meet, we wanted to prevent that leaking. So what we did is we went with a liner. And a liner, this is what the actual pipe looks like once it's done. It's super cool. It's quite thick. You will see this pipe here, these green pipes, these sewer pipes used, and you can use them in the city of Seattle for for your sewer line. But notice the thickness of that. It's not very thick, is it? So compared to the concrete thickness, compared to the thickness, you can see. I mean, I'd much rather have a concrete piece than this one, but this is the new sewer line. This is a little bit more flexible compared to the concrete, but obviously the concrete's going to last a lot longer than this stuff. But this is the material. This is the liner here, and it looks like this when it's all done. But there's a plastic sleeve which is on the outside, and then there's this kind of felty material on the inside. And what they do is they mix up some chemicals, and they shoot this into the drain line, into the 6-inch line. They shoot it inside, and then they use air pressure to pump this up, and it pushes against. Basically fills this entire space. This was for a 4-inch pipe, so this is for a smaller sewer line, but it'll fill the entire space up inside. And it took about 4 or 5 hours for it to fully cure against the inside of the wall. You need the air pressure so that the liner doesn't collapse. If the liner collapses, then you're screwed. You want to have that full pressure pushing out against it so you can get the biggest hole possible. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And I'm not sure how long it's supposed to last, but I feel really confident that this inside of this lovely concrete cylinder, I mean, it's like, wow, that's a lot of protection. So all right, so we're out at the sidewalk here, and this is where my sewer obviously comes out. And now it's all lined. From here, it goes out and around. Here's some more soil that's out front. It comes all the way down. You can see this little green paint mark on the grass here. There it goes, continuing down the sidewalk. And then it makes a turn and connects up with my neighbor's. You can see the green there, paint in his front yard there. So it kind of makes like a U shape. And that's where the liner stops, because that's where we meet up to his sewer line. And then we go all the way out to the city sewer, which is halfway down the block. So this was 70 feet of liner that was installed inside of that big 6-inch. So we ended up going with all city sewer repair. Here's a little sign they put out front. But when I started this project, I contacted 4 sewer companies in the city. There's ACES 4, there's All City Sewer, which is who we're using, Metropolitan Sewer, and Seattle Side Sewer. Of course, everyone's excited to do a sewer job because they cost a lot of money to do. It is not a small price. So out of the 4 companies, only 2 companies actually gave me a bid. ACES 4 and All City Sewer. So Dave from All City Sewer came out and gave us a bid, and it was like 28 grand. And that was the least expensive of the bids that came in. And like I said, we only had 2 bids that came in. Only 2 people were willing to do the job, willing to take the job. Some people just didn't respond at all. So anyway, I asked the owner of the company to come and walk the job site with me and just talk about like what's it going to be, what's going to happen, what do we need to do, is there any way for us to save money, can I do some of the work to save some money on the dig. And we walked through the project, and one of the things that he said was, hey, there was a retention wall here, so he's like, the retention wall has to come down because your sewer line is really running right underneath it. And he's like, I think we even need more space. We're gonna have to take out this stairwell behind me, this concrete stairwell. Which is what most, again, the other bidder, same thing. We gotta take out the stairwell, you gotta take out the retention wall. And I was like, okay, now I got a jackhammer and move all this concrete and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of the money was just removing the retaining wall and then having to jack the stairs out. But we walked the job. David walked the job again. This is like the second or third time that he's come out to the house, and basically walking again with me and just discussing it. And he walked the job, and he's like, hey, you know, if you want to start by taking the retention wall down, that's great. So I took the retention wall down. It took me like 2 days to do it, 2 full days to take it out. And then he came back, and then he looked at it, and he's like, you know what? I don't think I have to take the stairs out. I think we can just dig a really, you know, small trench here and get it done for you. And it's going to save you half the cost. So I think it was like, so we were at like $28,000, and it went down to like $18,000. So it was quite a huge savings, just by him again coming back out. I've removed the wall. He could see clearly the vision of what needed to happen, and we were able to make those changes and even get a much better price. So I was so happy about that. It was just like, you know, when you almost get like a half price deal. It's not a half price, but when you can save a third, that's great savings, because these projects cost a lot of money. So very, very happy with where we are so far. We got to put all this stuff back together. That's going to be another video. But the main thing was we got to pass inspection. Inspection's coming up, I think, on Monday. Get this thing out of here. Get this thing done. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a couple of things. Again, here's our sewer line coming out, the old cast iron. And it goes to this device here, which is a backflow preventer. And a little bit further down here, this is our clean out. So if we did ever have a backup, we can just, tap out of that. But this is going to come up to about here and have a cap on the top of it so we can access that. This is super cool because this is a backflow preventer. So what happens is, I'll open this up for you, is the water would be coming, if we had a backup, the water would come back the line, and then it would hit this trap here, and this trap here prevents any water from backflowing into the house because the pressure pushes against the seal and seals it off, so no water can go back into my house. That's the worst thing, when you start to see water backflowing into your tub or coming out of your toilet. I mean, it's super freaky when that happens. You don't want to see that. But if you can get a backflow installed, that is really great, and will saves you a lot of stress when and if you ever do get a backflow. That's super cool. So again, there'll be an access panel here for this. Here's one more shot of all the soil here. I don't know, it's about 4 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and about 30 feet, well, 25 feet long of soil.